Hi, I'm Ceyhan. I'm here as a representative of a PGS system in Ankara called DBB. But I will try to talk about, I will try to give an overview of three pioneering PGS systems in Turkey. Actually, these systems may or may not be fully functional PGS systems, but these are the ones which explicitly claim that they are trying to implement PGS principles. I prepared the slides in two languages, and the red ones will be the Turkish ones, and the blue ones will be the English ones. I hope it will be easier for you to follow this way. My focus will be naturally on DBB because I know more about DBB as compared to the other two initiatives. But since our time is limited, I may not be able to give all the relevant or important details. There is a poster outside where you can find more information on the functioning of DBB in Ankara. So these are the three initiatives. One comes from Istanbul. It's a cooperative. It does have a legal status. It's called the Boğaziçi University Members Consumers Cooperative, and it was founded in 2009. And DBB also was founded in 2009 in Ankara, an initiative called Natural Food Conscious Nutrition Group. And finally, I'll talk a little bit about Çayek, which is founded in Çanakkale 2 years ago, which is Çanakkale Initiative for Ecological Living. All these groups, actually, I would say, have common goals. And I can summarize them as follows. They all try to foster solidarity among producers and customers. They all aim to support small farmers and also support nature-friendly methods of production. Of course, one of the aims is trying to secure access to quality and natural food. They are all trying to implement PGS principles, and they are all trying to raise awareness in the society. But of course, there are some differences in perspectives and priorities. I will come to them. And such comparisons may help a little bit in seeing what strategies can work best in what contexts. So all of these initiatives are web-based, not just web-based, but they all have functional websites. And just I do have very little pictures, only some pictures of the websites. This is the website of DBB. This one is the website of BÜKOP, and the last one, Çayek's website. They have different properties, and I will try to summarize them a little bit. There are some differences in priorities, which is expected, of course. I would say BÜKOP focuses on natural and ecological products, but also favors and values traditional products. So it doesn't have to be always ecological or organic, but some traditional products which are worth supporting are also included in BÜKOP. But the other two initiatives, DBB and Çayek, only include natural products, and they do have their own criteria explicitly written on their web pages on naturalness. Again, BÜKOP has a priority of supporting organized farmer organizations, and DBB has a priority of empowering producers for their capacity building, and Çayek seems to put emphasis on establishing strong one-to-one relations among its contributors. And they have somehow divergent strategies. Here what's important is that on the first column you see that BÜKOP has a legal status, but DBB and Çayek do not have any legal statuses. These are truly, all of them are truly, I would say, grassroots initiatives, but BÜKOP is different because they are organized as a cooperative. And also the differences in logistics. For instance, BÜKOP also has a shop in Istanbul, in the campus, but DBB doesn't have one. Çayek has I would say, a small shop which is mostly used for exhibition purposes. And some other differences. By the way, we will try to make all these slides available to at least all the participants which have been registered. So maybe I can skip some of the details. When I mostly speak about DBB, that's not because it's the best model in Turkey, but this is because I'm part of it and I know more about DBB than others. In Ankara, we have more than 1,000 participants now, but not all of them are active. I don't have any statistics about how many of them are active, but I would say less than half of it would be active participants, and we have 26 producers. Again, another property is that DBB does not have an official status, and we don't have any strict procedures for control. So our strategy has been to maximize interaction, maximize group involvement, so that there will be a web of relations, so that everyone will be responsible about everything in the group. And I believe that we were able to manage this. Another property of DBB is that our web pages are open to public. I think this is also a good strategy, because then the group does not only serve to itself, but you can also serve outside the group. I mean, if you really believe that those people are producing good stuff and they are trustworthy people, why not promote them to the public? Another important aspect is that we do not really provide any logistics. So this is important. It has disadvantages, I will mention about them. It has big disadvantages, but it has also lots of advantages, because then we have lighter infrastructure, lighter workforce, and we are focused on building trust and formulating principles and values. And it's a grassroots initiative. Actually, when we founded the group with the help of many people in Ankara, we didn't know about PGS system. We hadn't heard about that. I mean, the term was completely unknown to us. But it's only in 2012 that we realized that we are really doing PGS. And after we realized that, we adopted this term and we realigned ourselves a little bit with that. And this is important because valuing grassroots initiatives is important, I think. I mean, you don't have to really say that you are a PGS initiative. You may be really doing something similar, but I also believe that such definitions and such practices may help initiatives to get better. Maybe it might be interesting to talk about the results of a survey that we did within DBB. But it's not a scientific survey because we didn't approach the problem in a scientific way. But we asked our participants to answer some questions, and there are really some very, very interesting results. And I tried to put some of them here. How much of your food is organic or natural? In our circles, in our participants, it was 65%. And how much of it comes from our own network, DBB? It was 50%. And more interestingly, we asked how many DBB producers do our participants know in person? So in person means not just phone calls or not just correspondence on the web, but just know them and having some real relations. And the average was 4. I think this is not bad. And we also asked how many DBB producers' locations or farms did you visit? And the average was 1, which is again not bad, because this means 100 visits have been done only within the group which gave answers. So by the way, another important thing is that we promoted the survey a lot to this group of 1,000 people, but then only about 100 people replied. This is also an implication of the degree of participation. So we do have a problem of real participation, actually. And again, do you have any social relations with DBB producers other than buying things, etc.? And about 1/3 of the participants said yes, and they also gave the details, of course, but now I cannot. So it really shows a lot of things about the gist of such systems. I mean, it's not just food, it's really building community. Again, I want to share this part a little bit because we also asked what kind of difficulties they face when they try to get products from DBB producers. I mean, one of the weak points of DBB is that we are not providing any logistics. It has advantages, but then we rely on the capacity of the producers, and we are trying to build it collectively, and we succeed to some extent. But then, especially in cases where a shipment is necessary from one city to another. By the way, we are mostly around Ankara, the producers, but we also have some faraway producers, and we have some problems. And you see, you can just read, I mean, shipping costs for cargo companies, for instance, comes as the first prominent problem. And they really have difficulty in receiving shipments. I mean, when the company will bring you some goods, you need to be at home, for instance. Otherwise, you'll have trouble. So this is the second one. And there may be some damage during delivery. And these are the problems that we are facing now. And also problems with packaging and accessing lists and placing orders, etc. So we are trying to build the capacity of the producers, but we are partially successful in that. And another very interesting result, I was really surprised to see this. I mean, those people are just, contributors of the group. They are just buyers primarily. And we asked whether they really have any dreams or plans for becoming a producer. And they have given really very concrete answers. And I quoted them. And you see that 1/4 of them say, I just have some dreams, but strong dreams. And more than that, 38% of them say that they do have concrete plans for becoming a producer. I mean, this is, I think, a good prospect for the future of our planet. It was really somehow surprising to me. And only about 10% said, I don't have any such plans or dreams. Yeah, it's all about building community. And, I don't have time, of course, to talk about many different types of interactions among group members. But I can give some examples. Maybe more than 50 visits are taking place per year to DBB farms. And sometimes they stay somehow long. And there are some, interesting examples, like, for instance, one participant of DBB employed a producer's girl, another participant helped another family member of a producer to find a boyfriend, and things like this. I mean, these are all very nice, and it's also nice that we moderators or the people active in the group do not know about it. I mean, it's also an advantage. Sometimes we think we do not have control over the group, but I think we don't have to have control over the group. So many things happen, and then we just hear about that from people, from hearsay. And many people go into joint projects, which is also a very good sign. And we have difficulties too, because in such a light system, I call DBB a light system because we have a very focused central group of moderators who work really a lot for cooperatively formulating principles and values and admitting people, producers. But then I can say that there is a problem of limited or no participation by some participants. And there is no collective mechanism for guiding producers to produce specific items, because we are really a network kind of organization, not a central one. And sometimes we observe that there is little capacity building by some producers in terms of promotion, updating info pages, publishing product lists, monitoring payments, etc. And difficulties regarding logistics and transportation. And also for the moderators, there is this problem of being too amateur about that, because sometimes it really requires a lot of time and energy with no immediate material return. And as to the evaluation of the actual performance, I would say there is a very good amount of transaction, but it cannot be measured. This can also be considered a weakness, but everything has a cost. I mean, we are just trying to maximize interaction and maximize real things, and we don't have time for measurement. So, so if you really try to measure things, then you invest your time to measurement. So this is something that needs to be balanced, actually. And I can say that from the feedback that we have from our producers, DBB really helps, supports its producers, but does not really fully support them. Some suggestions from our limited experience is that legal official infrastructure may help, as in the case of BICOP, which is a really very well-working organization, but it's not always necessary. I think we don't really need very strict rules or procedures. Not always, I would say. I mean, it depends on the setting, of course. I mean, but in our case, we thought that we have a lot of explicit, let's say, procedures for, accepting new producers. We have a lot of explicit principles and values, but we don't have any strict mechanism for control, because we rely on the power of community, and we try to maximize interaction. And there are ways of, there are lots of ways people can contribute to this joint activity. And I believe that remaining a grassroots organization is important. And I also think that remaining accessible is important, because for instance, I know many farmers in Turkey who would really benefit from the talks in the main body of the World Organic Congress, but cannot really go there because of the relatively high fees. So this is also important, that everything that we do stays accessible to at least farmers and other people who are trying to build food communities. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this very interesting research. Okay, so I think I have to thank the speakers for being on time. We are finishing right on the time that was scheduled, but I really feel I cannot close the session without giving very short slot for a few questions, maybe maximum 3 questions. And please, 3 questions to 3 different speakers. Don't ask just one speaker your questions. Elisabeth.
I have a question for Larouche Kidioui. What kind of guarantee to the farmers do you make? Do you share the risks with them in any way? Or is it payment like at other sorts of commercial markets?
No, we don't pay in advance the farmers. We don't. This is like the way the CSA system is working. In our system, it's really different. Like the farmer is. We don't pay him in advance. We don't give him a guarantee. The guarantee is the community, and is also we give him like the autonomy and the liberty. What is really important at Larouche, the farmer decide to go on the platform, is the one who is defining the price of his produce, and is also have the possibility to define a minimum of order. So if it doesn't reach the minimum of order for one community, he doesn't have to deliver. That is important because we don't want him like to lose money on the delivery of his produce. So we give him like these few options, and also after he has the liberty to decide which community he wants to work with. But also you need to take into account that the way we guarantee the farmers to make enough volume and to sell enough is because we're spreading a large network really fast. And because of that, some farmers are able like to work sometimes with 5-10 communities and are really able to sell all of their produce. And I'm talking with a lot of growers many times, and they're telling me like, yeah, the other day I was talking with a young grower who did install 3 years ago, and he's only working for Larouche. And he told us, yeah, with Larouche, I'm selling all my produce, and I'm one of the only farmers I know that don't need subsidiaries to live, and I'm already living my life because I'm able like to work directly with the communities. So it's another way of I think guaranteeing, and another it's another way like to put the farmers in control, to put the farmer at the top, like it was said at the introduction, because he's the one deciding what he's doing on the platform. We don't force him to do anything the way we want. Even if he's a she, and we have a lot more female farmers than on the average in France. For info.
Thank you. There is another question over there. And once again, sorry for not allowing you to more questions, but once again, we'll have, well, this morning was a kind of introduction, so I guess your head is packed with new and exciting information. You probably feel a bit hungry now. Your belly is empty and so on, and you're a bit frustrated. But this afternoon, you will have a chance to, to get over your frustration and to interact with all these great speakers. Just to remind you, we have a poster session at 1:45 here. We'll have the fishbowl on CSA 1 hour later, 2:45, sorry. And then the fishbowl on PGS at 4:30. So there will be more chance to interact.
Yeah, my question is to Good Market. So, and before that, I would appreciate Julie Matau for saying that we're not dying for third-party certification. And I would ask the same question to Good Market. So, why do you think third-party certification is so important that when you're selling locally? And why is it? How is it going to guarantee something that is not?